For a while now, I've been saying early game comps are really bad, and that a lot of early game picks in the meta, like Renekton, like Nidalee, are just really bad champions, and that they shouldn't be picked, and whoever does pick them is completely inting and should really just retire from League of Legends. And this game, Game 1 from Cloud9 vs 100 Thieves, is a great example of why I think this. I got a lot of comments saying how stupid I am and how wrong I am for saying this stuff, and oh, Renekton's not useless, blah blah blah. Well, watch this game and you see exactly what I mean. Cloud9 picks Renekton, Nidalee, LeBlanc, Alistar. 4 literal non-champions in my eyes. All Berserker can do this game is watch his team lose the game, because he's the only useful champion in the game. It has nothing to do with the players, it has everything to do with the draft and the champions. 4 of these champs don't do anything, and you saw why inside the game. Cloud9 got off to a fantastic start. They were almost 6,000 gold up at one point, if not more, around 20 to 25 minutes. And what's the thing that I always say about these early game champions? Sure, they look strong in the first 15 to 20 minutes when they're supposed to be strong, but the problem is, you fall off around 25 minutes. When the scaling team gets their 2 to 3 item power spikes, they're immediately going to start winning the team fights, and that's what happened. Cloud9 had a 6k gold lead, was looking really strong, and then they lost one team fight at 27-ish minutes, 27-28 minutes, and from there, the game was just lost, because 100 Thieves have Maokai, Corki, and Ziggs scaling. There's no way they can lose this game past 25 minutes if they're in a reasonable position. And they weren't. Even though Cloud9 was really far ahead, they made one mistake, they lost one fight, and the game was just over. There's nothing they can do after that point. It doesn't matter if you have 5 fakers on your team, you're still going to lose with this comp. I have no idea who's doing the drafts. I have no idea if it's a combination of coaches and players or all coaches, but the reality of the situation is that it's a complete embarrassment of a performance, and whoever's doing the drafts should not be considered a professional. It's embarrassing. They should be fired. They should just retire from League of Legends because they have no idea what they're doing. And that's just the fact of the matter, is that this draft is so horrendous. Cloud9 deserved to lose this game because they picked 4 non-champions. I don't understand how you can pick these champions and actually enter the game expecting to win. It doesn't matter if you're better mechanical players. It doesn't matter if you get ahead early. It doesn't matter if you snowball dragons. These champions are useless because they're all early game. And you can't end a competitive game in 15 to 20 minutes. It's just not possible unless it's T1 versus Mad Lions. But truly, this draft was awful. Renekton, Nidalee, useless champions. Alistar, useless. LeBlanc, useless, especially with this new Horizon Focus thing. Like, what is that about? Horizon Focus does nothing on this champion. But either way, if you look at 100 Thieves comp, it's fine. It's quite good, actually. They have really insane scaling with Maokai, Corki, and Ziggs. All they really have to do is sit, let them hit 2 to 3 items, and then they're going to start winning team fights. And there's not really a whole lot Cloud9 can do about it. Kasante's going to outscale the Renekton, and Rel just has more value inside of a team fight than Alistar does. Rel's kind of just like a better version of Alistar. And you can see in this highlight here, there's not really a way for Cloud9 to play the game. Renekton gets isolated and kind of blown up, and you know, the Nidalee's just sitting there chucking out spears, all of which miss, and that's all the champion has to offer. Sure, she can heal the misfortune for like 200 or 300, but yeah, that's a great reason to pick Nidalee. The fact is, Cloud9 needs to start drafting scaling comps. You know, this was only game 1 of the series. It literally just ended, so we'll see what they do throughout the rest of the series. But if they continue down this road, drafting all early game comps like this with the Nidalees and the Renektons, they're going to continue to lose, and it will be a deserved collapse. You know, this is a team that was expected to be and looked like a top 2 team in the LCS the entire summer split, and this is starting to be a horrendous collapse. And it's all starting with the drafting. All 5 of these players are very good players. I have no doubt in my mind. Jojo's a former MVP. Blaber's a former MVP. Berserker's a former MVP. Vulcan has been a top 2, top 3 support in the league for many years, and Thanatos is obviously a solid mechanical, great lane player. So it's not like these players are weak. The fact is, it's starting with the drafts, and when they enter the game with such a disadvantage, it's no question why they're losing the games. And 100 Thieves must have entered this game thinking, yeah guys, all we have to do is sit and wave clear and farm for 20 to 25 minutes and we will win. Renekton's not going to be able to do anything late game because of the CC from Maokai, Cassante, and Rel. Nidalee just doesn't do anything because the champ sucks, and same thing kind of with LeBlanc. LeBlanc can be successful if she gets really snowballed early and if she builds properly, but the fact that she didn't get super ahead and Corki just kind of got to scale up for free even though he had 2 deaths, the LeBlanc's not going to really be doing anything in this game, especially considering there's point and click CC on the Maokai, and Corki's just going to do more damage as soon as he hits two or three items. And again, I feel bad for Berserker because he played well this game, and it showed that the MF was the only useful member of this team because she actually scales and can do damage past 25 minutes. But the rest of the team just kind of sat around and watched. And you know, it got me thinking that Jojo Pune has not been looking very good really this entire split. I don't think he's a great fit on Cloud9. He hasn't looked himself this entire year really, and it got me thinking, when he was on EG and won MVP, he was getting played around by his junglers so much. He had by far the highest jungle proximity in the league, and the meme with that Evil Geniuses team was, oh, if you kill Jojo, you kill the whole team. And that's because the whole team played for him. The whole team played around him completely, and so he was able to play around or carry more games. That's not the case. Blaber's a more selfish, farm-oriented jungler who's going to play more for himself, and Jojo doesn't have the resources to carry games, especially when you put him on champions like LeBlanc. Well, I say that, and then last series he picked 4 games straight of Corki and still looked pretty bad in that series. So Jojo definitely hasn't looked like himself the entire year. It looks like Cloud9 might not be a great fit for him from the organizational standpoint. The jungle meta as well is not Blaber's strong suit at all, especially this summer has been the outbreak of fast clearing AP junglers, and that's not his style. He wants to be really aggressive and play team fights really aggressive with the Olafs and the Kindreds and things like that that he's been famous for throughout his career. So the jungle meta also hasn't been good for this team, but overall I think throughout the entire summer split their drafts have been horrendous, and it's really coming to a point here in playoffs where it's really dooming them. Again, we'll see if they can turn it around and kind of change things up for the later games of this series against 100 Thieves, but based on last week when they picked 4 games of Cassante, 4 games of Corki, 3 out of 4 games of Lilia, their adaptation in best of 5s seems really, really limited and really bad. So again, I'll reiterate, their drafting, whoever's doing their drafting is just delusional and terrible at their job. And I feel bad for the players because they're all solid players, but they're just entering the game with such a disadvantage, it's impossible for them to play. Hopefully they can turn it around, I really hope they do, but until then, thanks for watching, see you next time.